All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream where I'm going to go ahead and talk about a developer that sent me an email recently over a game I blasted. I want to go ahead and welcome you guys to my live stream. What we're talking about here is a game, as you can see, that I reviewed that launched on December 29th. I believe it was, developer's first game on Steam. And Gloom is an action RPG game, which I typically like these kind of games. But as you can see, I reviewed the game the day it came out, December 29th, and I gave it a negative review. The game's only sold 2 copies since it came out, probably in large part because of my negative review. I just can't give my recommendation when the game is that short. The only other review the game has, somebody said they beat it in 20 minutes. And that was my big problem when I played the game. You guys are welcome to go look at, my video of the game. As you can see right here, already 361 reviews. The game called Gloom. So I'm going to share the email that this developer wrote to me here in just a few moments. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the review that I wrote. I basically gave this game a negative review, even though I liked the action that was there. There just wasn't enough there. You could shoot enemies, but there was no chest to open. There was no skills to open up or unlock. There was nothing to buy. No NPC vendors to give you quests, nothing like that. And I just said way too little content for the price tag. I said this game is not labeled as early access, but the developer states in the credits of the game, when you go to the credits, he said he plans on adding more content over time. However, he is charging $12 for what is here right now. I said no progression except leveling up, which does nothing except make your spells maybe a little bit stronger. No classes to choose from, no races to choose from. You're a wizard with 5 spells from the start, and you don't even unlock those spells as you move on through the game. I said not recommended because the value is way too low for what is offered here. I said if the game had 5 or 6 hours of content for the $12 asking price, I'd give it my thumbs up. But what is here isn't worth the $2 to $3 price tag. I did try to encourage the developer, though, and I said, because I did see effort, and this is what I look for in all these games that I review, guys. I can tell if a game is just a sloppy mess of cobbled together assets, or if a developer has actually tried to make something fun, actually tried to make something special. And I do see effort put into what this game is right now. I know that these kind of games take a lot of effort to get everything right. I just feel like there needs to be a lot more effort if you're going to charge a $12 price tag. So I said I do like the gameplay and responsive controls. I said if the developer adds about 10 times the current amount of content as what there is now, I'll come back and re-review the game, and it would likely earn my thumbs up. I said, or dropping the price to about $1.99 would also get my thumbs up. Now, anytime a developer launches a game, they cannot lower the price for 30 days. Welcome to the stream. We got CORR and Cold Slayer back with us again. Thanks so much for coming in, guys. So now I want to go ahead and show you the email that I got from this developer. Now, this developer actually sent this on the day that I released. No, this was it was the same day that I did my review. So at first, I think he was pretty bitter. Anyway, I didn't find this email for like a week after he wrote it. But we're going to call him David, right? I did block out for his protection his name and his email address. He says, "Oh man, I know you gave me a thumbs down on my Steam review, which makes me sad. But hey, it's an honest review." He says, "But what I need to do is say thank you. Your video review just made my month. I'm married, I work full time, and I've been putting every spare moment of my night and weekend into this game for the last 3 months. I've taken a couple of paid days off work to work on this game as well. And all of that is now worth it because of the YouTube video that you made. Even if I don't get another sell and the thumbs down come raining in, your moments where you enjoyed my game were worth everything." That's a pretty cool statement by a developer. A developer who sees my video and instead of just saying, hey, oh, this guy knocked my game, this guy gave me a thumbs down, this developer actually wrote me an email to say thank you for just a few moments where I said, hey, man, this is fun. I like the responsive controls. He goes on to say, I strongly considered the early access designation, but I saw a lot of horror stories about perpetually early access games for years. I opted to try it to make it a complete game. You can start the game, beat the bosses, go to the end, and achieve victory, mostly bug-free. So I decided to call it complete. But yes, I can beat the game myself in 20 minutes, he says. So for that, I'll agree, it is minimal content. I had to draw a line in the sand so I could publish a game. I guess the other side of the minimal content is the price point. I could have priced it lower, but I did a lot of research and reading on price, and everything I read kept saying price. Don't price yourself too low. Article after article said price your game higher. That is true because you can always go down in price. It's kind of hard to launch your game like at $1.99 or 99 cents and decide you want to mark it up to $5 because then people are going to be like, what the hell, right? And then in the review or in the video, I think I basically said, hey, because of the time that I reviewed it, it was a Steam winter sale. I said people can go out and buy Grim Dawn for $5 right now, even though it's a $25 game. But there's always going to be some kind of an RPG that's going to be on sale. And so I said, why would somebody pay, $5 or pay $12 for this if they can beat in a half an hour when they could go buy Grim Dawn, which is probably going to give them 30, 40, or 50 hours of content that has a lot more to it, opening chests and going through dungeons and all kinds of stuff, for $5 on sale. And he said, I know you pointed out the $5 Grim Dawn is 80% off right now, which if my game were 80% off, it would be $2.38. But I digress. He said the $12 price point is a lot of consideration about the time I put into the game balanced with what the player gets out of the game. I tried to look at AAA games and indie games, and looking at their pricing, the number of reviews they got, and the quality of their content, I felt like it might fit between a $3 game and a $30 game. He said, anyways, that's all the candid thinking. The real reason I'm shooting you an email is because your review was so in-depth and awesome. Loot? Nope. Too easy to dodge their attacks. This isn't half a second cooldown. But then, I said, made it himself. Pretty cool. And can't lie, this is pretty fun. He said he melted. This is why I built this. Now I just need to build it bigger. He said, you know something? I've got written down in my notebook, short and fun is greater than long and dumb. If I had 10 times the content, but it was boring, dumb, unresponsive, and glitchy, that's no good. But being fun, yet short, I can fix that. Sorry for rambling. You're my hero today. So I just wanted to go ahead and share this email with you guys and let you know that when I review any indie game, I am looking for how much fun it is. I am looking for things like how responsive is it, is the game. But I'm also looking for heart and soul put into the game. I'm looking for creativity, but more than anything, I'm looking for genuine effort, right? So I really look for genuine effort when I review any of these indie games, and that's what I want to see. And if I see effort, honest effort put into a game, that's when I'm going to do things like try to give the developer feedback and ideas on how to fix their game, how to make it better. It's very seldom, I would say less than like 3% of the time that I give a developer feedback and ideas on how to make it better. It's a very low percentage of the time that any developer takes any of my ideas and, makes those changes to their game. But I try, when I see effort, I try to give them at least ideas on how I believe they can make their game better, or maybe help their game sell better, or whatnot, because I've been doing this for a long time. So I did go ahead and respond. I just wanted to share that part of the email. And here's my response. I basically just said, I saw your email. I'm glad you was able to see some good in my video review and get the overall basis of what I was trying to say. I was like, what you've done is very good and fun, but there's just not enough. I even reminded him of my own first game on Steam when I launched Rock and Roll back in 2017. I said, it was my first game as well. I said, I've been in your shoes. The first negative review that I got hurt like hell. I get it. I said, but then I finally turned around and used that negative review to make my game better, way better. I said, I've also I've dumped 1,200 hours or more into my Rock and Roll game. I said, in the end, though, it doesn't matter how much you spend on assets for your game. And it also doesn't matter if you spend 5 hours developing your game or 5,000 hours developing it. I said, what matters for your price point is what kind of value the customer gets for their money. Notice how I put that in all caps. I said, period. I said, this is what, you should, remember this as you continue to make more indie games. I also said, you said you could beat your game in 20 minutes. I said, so let's be safe here and just call it a half hour. I said, you're trying to sell your customers 30 minutes of content, which doesn't have like really any replay value, for $12. I said, that's essentially $24 an hour that you're charging for your game. And I reminded him in over 500 reviews, probably more like 700 reviews, I had that calculations where value was worth the biggest part of my score for any game in first impression. I said value was worth 40 points, 40% of an overall score. And I said what I looked for there is how many hours I thought the average player would get in a game. And then I would basically, I was looking for a game that would give somebody, less than $1 an hour. I said, so if I figured a customer's cost was $1 or hour per less, then the value would usually be 40 out of 40 points. I said, and also if the average customer costs them more than $1 an hour, I'd dock points from their score for that. I said, now consider your cost of $24 an hour when I was looking for $1 an hour to give a developer the maximum points on a score. I said, where do you think I'd put your value score if I graded games I scored a day with that same scoring system I used for over 6 years? I said, yes, you need to expand your game and you need to lower your price. That's my advice. I reminded him it's a lot better to sell 500 copies of your game at $2.99, which would be $1,500 gross in sales, than to sell 15 copies of his game at the $12 price tag that it is now, which would only be $180 in sales. I said, please respond as well. Notice here, I am asking for his permission to read his email before I read it. I said, I want to show that you're the developer of Gloom, and I would block out your email address and your name and let me know. I also said, thanks for your time and for seeing that I'm not such an evil YouTuber as a lot of people think I am. A lot of developers that I've blasted in the past, just think that I'm evil and I'm out to, hurt them. I'm out to, just blast their game for ratings or for views. And that isn't the case at all. I honestly want to, my primary purpose in reviewing any game is to protect the customer or let you guys, my viewers, know whether I think a game is worth it or whether I think they should stay away or if it's somewhere in between. I do what I do for my viewers, and that's the only reason I do it. I don't care if I get 100 views on a video or 100,000 views. It doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, more views is going to mean that more people, I've helped more people, but that's more important to me than the monetization I could get. I do what I do because I love doing what I do. I love games, but I also love giving you guys, my viewers, my honest opinion, my honest feedback. I have been approached by developers in the past that have offered me hundreds of dollars to give a bad game a good review. Hundreds of dollars. And I've turned them down every time. I will not be sold out. If I was in it for money, I would have taken those offers in the past. Because I can tell you there's been a lot of situations where I've been broke. Where I've been short of being able to make my car payment or make my rent or whatever. So those offers are always tempting, but not really, because again, my integrity is worth a lot more than whatever they were offering. I also told him I'd be happy to re-review it, if he makes good changes and lowers the price, etc., etc. And then he responded with one more email, guys, back, this is just last Saturday. He said, yes, I agree with everything you said. Yes, you could read my email and share my game name and that I'm the developer, and I appreciate you not sharing my name and email address. He said, I think it's a great idea to discuss how you rate the value aspect of games. He said, yes, I could actually beat my game in 12 minutes. I've released some content now, so it takes me 27 minutes to beat. Although I think some folks it will take longer on some of the more difficult fights. He said, so yes, I can see how $24 an hour versus your $1 an hour you're looking for makes sense and why I got dinged so hard. He said, also, I've been reflecting a lot of this. As I said, I had to draw the line in the sand for myself to stop working on it perpetually and release it at some point. Based on the horror stories I heard, we already read all this. Clearly, I ended up overpricing it. And he says Steam doesn't allow you to change the price for 30 days or something like that. So I'm working hard on content right now and thinking about what to drop the price to. I also think that critical feedback is more useful than, the reviews. We've all read these reviews on Steam, guys, where people leave just a short review, great game, or game's awesome, or super fun, looks great, kind of feedback. Or, either that or rage one-word reviews like sucks or this is shit or whatever. So again, he said, thanks for taking time to share your thoughts so clearly. They helped me immensely, and he's working hard. And guys, the reason I asked him for permission to share this email is because this is the first time out of 3,200 total videos and approaching 1,000 reviews, this is the first developer that thanked me for a negative review. First time ever. So Gloom, to the developer of this game, a huge applaud to you for understanding that my criticism isn't because I'm hating on your game, because I'm jealous, because I can't make that kind of game myself. It isn't because I'm mad because you made a game that's selling better than mine, or all these other reasons that people seem to think, why I bash these games. I bash bad games, and bad games that I feel like almost no effort are put into, those make my miss series. Gloom probably would have made about a 10% score if I was using my old scoring system. Maybe 10 to 20%. That would typically get a miss. But notice Gloom did not make my miss series because I saw effort in the game, and I saw that, just a little bit of fun. I saw what was there in the game, the 20 or 30 minutes of content he had was actually fun. So it's very important to understand that. And I really wanted to make this video just to kind of point out to all these developers. And we know that I've blasted a lot of developers over my years. We know that over 120 something, games have made my miss series. I don't do what I do just because I'm jealous or angry at developers. Yes, I do get angry because I feel like they're trying to scam people. I don't like scammers. And when I feel like a developer is putting up very low effort or no effort games and charging any amount of money for them, it pisses me off because I feel like they are trying to scam customers on Steam. I feel like they're trying to scam you guys, my viewers. So I am extremely passionate about what I do. I want you guys to understand that it is very, very hard to be now an indie developer myself. Now, I've been reviewing games for many years. I didn't start making games until the mid-2017. It's very, very hard myself to make my own games, which are all 2D kind of action games, and then come in and blast all these 3D games like this. Blast fancy 3D games with the Unreal Engine and things like that, because I know that it makes me look, bad, right? So I get it. I get what people think. But no, I continue to make indie games. I continue to review these games because I do what I do for not only you guys, the viewers, and not only the customers of these games, but I really am, in so many situations, trying to help you indie developers who are just like me make your games better. I know how much better I made Rock and Roll, back when I made Rock and Roll. When I made Rock and Roll, I mean, it was so much worse than what it is now. I changed so many things about Rock and Roll when I got my first negative review. And if I scroll down here, guys, I can show you like some of the changes I made in my game, and it all came from my first negative review on my game. And this last developer is extremely right. A review that details problems or bugs or things that somebody doesn't like about a game are so much more valuable to an indie developer than, quick, like maybe even dishonest reviews that say, "Oh, this game is the best game ever, great game," whatever it is. Uh, so this is 2017. We see that I have a lot of updates. You can see I put a lot of work into this game. Rock and roll. I mean, so many hours I put in this game. Pricing piece. That's when I made anti-cheat. That's when I added my A55. Here's when I added the hard rock mode. And that was still, I got my first negative review, I believe, in like January of 2018. So it was like around May because it took me a while to accept the negative review that I got. So it was around May, I believe, of 2018, April or May, when I finally, overhaul here. There you go. So this kind of shows some of the differences in my game. In May of 2018 is when I finally took that negative review to heart and I decided to make changes. The negative review basically said my game had too many colors. It was hard to look at. It looked amateurish because there were so many colors. I was trying to be too flashy. I had too many different fonts on the game, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see that my intro screen, the main menu, before the changes, right here, and then after the changes that I made in May. Look how much better, look how much more clean my main screen looks with, more neutral colors, not so many different flashy colors, same kind of fonts, etc. The settings screen before, right, was like that. And then I added a picture of an asteroid coming to the Earth. And again, used, smaller fonts, the same font, not so many bright colors. And you see, I think, the difference there. And then I continued to make more changes after that. Added monster rocks at that point as well, which is right there. Again, more changes here. My old in-game stat screen where I showed all your stats and everything like that. Look at all the different fonts that I had. Look at all the different colors to show all the stats. And then I changed that screen to look like this. Same font, a nice picture of an asteroid, a royalty-free image that I found to use in my game that fit my game. But you can see how much cleaner my last in-game stat screen looks after I made the changes. Same thing here. But every time you got through a wave of asteroid, this was your level complete screen before. Yes, I thought that looked cool when I made it. I was like, wow, this looks cool. I thought that looked awesome. But then you can see the nice, it's a much cleaner look after I made changes here. Same thing here, your upgrade station. Here was the old, all the different colors, all the different fonts. And then I made it so you could actually fly your ship around to the different screens and pick out your ship upgrades. And these screens would flash when you did them. Much better look, I think. Same thing here, selling your resources that you collect in Rock and Roll. My old screen, again, all the different fonts, and then again, right here, you see, just a lot cleaner look. So that is my point. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys, with this. And I remember how nervous I was when I launched Rock and Roll, before I launched Rock and Roll. And also the amount of work, the amount of hours that I put into Rock and Roll. You really have to make your price for a game on how many hours you think a game is going to give the average viewer. Now with Rock and Roll is a game that has a ton of replay value because every time you play it, it's going to be a little bit different. There's lots of different bosses, lots of different screens, lots of resources, lots of upgrades, all kinds of stuff that give Rock and Roll a huge replay value. And you see that I only have it priced at $9 right now. So it is really important if you are an indie developer that you look at everything. You look at replay value. You can't just look at how many hours you put in a game, because if I was going to price this game based on how many hours I put into it, I would probably want to price it at like $30 or more. But you can't do that, guys. You can't you can't price a game on how much time you spend on it, or maybe how much money you spend on assets to make your game or whatever. You have to look at what the customer is getting as far as their value. Their value. What's the replay value like? How much content is there? Things like that. So it is really important. But I did just want to go ahead and share that with you guys. I think it's important to get this message out there. And again, first developer in almost over 750 reviews or whatever, first developer in over 750 reviews that I have given a negative review to, given a not recommend to on Steam, that has actually emailed me and thanked me for the negative review and told me things like, just hearing me say, what's here is a lot of fun. This is a blast. To him, he said that was all worth it. Worth all his hours he spent making this game for like over 3 or 4 months. All his weekends and all his time making what's here. He said, just hearing me say, wow, this is fun. What's cool, what's here is really, really cool. And he said that was all worth it. I think we can all learn something from a developer that can take a negative review and find the positive in it. I've done it with Rock and Roll, and now Serenth here has done it with Mana Gloom. So if you guys haven't, checked this game out, if you do like action RPGs, maybe put this on your follow list or wish list or whatever. Take a look at it. Let's see if he drops the price. Let's see if he adds more content. Maybe this is a game that you'll want to watch, since it does look like you took my review and my video to heart. Something we can all learn from. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning into my live stream. It's been a pleasure to share this email and share this story about my first game and share this developer's email to me about his first game with you guys, my viewers. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care. We'll see you again soon.